Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the second session for today. Good afternoon, Kendi.
Good afternoon, Babajide. Thank you for having me. Good afternoon, everyone.
Okay, trust today is going well. I don't know how many of you were in the first session. Hope you got lots of value from that session. This session also promises to be a very insightful one. We're going to be looking at maintaining a strong culture during a crisis. Kendi Akongbe. I'm going to be introducing her shortly, and then we'll get right into it. Let me also mention that this session has been pre-approved for 3 business credits for those that have the tHRive certification. This session is one of the 5 sessions with business credits towards your certification. So please take note of the attendance code at the end of the session. To note the attendance so that you can pay so that you can get the certification credits when you pay for that at the end of the program. Okay, welcome once again, Adedoyin, Abiodun, Abaso, Antonia, Emmanuel, Fini, Harriet. Thank you all for joining. Great having you all here again. And for those joining on YouTube, you're welcome. Thank you for joining again. Some usual YouTube attendees are Shegun, Anu, and Emmanuel. At least I see them every day. I'm Mira Bello. I see you all. Thank you for always joining as many sessions as possible. Juliet, you're welcome. Thank you for joining. Gradually, we are rounding up the conference. This is the 4th weekend. We have one more weekend to go. And our hope is that after this conference, our careers will truly be transformed and the organizations that we serve will thrive, as the thing says. I'll be looking forward to getting testimonials, hearing your feedback of some of the things you learned here and applied on the job, and the results and the outcomes that they had on your organizations. It would be great to hear from you. Okay. Thank you, Peter. You're welcome. Thanks for joining again. Oh, can you all hear me? Abiodun says more volume. Can everyone hear me? I hope I'm loud enough. Okay, great. Thank you for the feedback. Thank you, Alberto. Thank you very much. All right. So like I mentioned earlier, we're going to be looking at maintaining a strong culture during a crisis. This is our second session for today. Our speaker for this session is Kendi Akongbe. Let's meet her quickly. Kendi Akongbe is the founder of HR Girlfriends Tribe, a community focused on the growth and development of professional women. She is also the founder of Body Confidence Zone, a consultancy that helps professionals find, build, and retain confidence in their bodies for success. As an organizational culture expert and career coach, she is the host of 2 organizational and career development platforms, including a podcast, Moments That Matter with Kendi, and a vlog, Voice for Growth. She has over 10 years people management experience from the IT, construction, FMCG, retail, marketing communications, and telecom service industries. She has led several strategic initiatives across HR business areas, including change management, brand cultural alignment, talent acquisition, learning and development, performance management, compensation and benefits, diversity and inclusion, employee engagement, people analytics, amongst others. She holds a bachelor degree in political science from the University of Ibadan. She has trained with the London Business School in UK, Philanthropy University in USA, Project Management Institute in USA, Society for Human Resources Management, Human Resource Certification Institute USA, earning as the badge of a senior professional in Human Resources International. That's the SPHRI certification. The Chartered Institute for, and also the Chartered Institute of Personnel Management, Nigeria, CIPM. She has also trained with the Carrington Heritage Center for Professional Development, UK, the Network of Human Resource Professionals, telemarketingdiploma.com in USA, the International Project Management Professionals Nigeria, and the Nigerian Institute of Management, NIM, amongst others. She's a trained career coach and a leadership capacity development expert, a body confidence coach, and a diversity and inclusion advocate. So with a warm welcome, let's welcome our speaker for this session, Kehinde Akonde Akongbe. You are welcome to the tHRive conference. Thank you for joining. It's great having you here.
Thank you, Babajide. Thank you for having me. I appreciate the opportunity.
Right. So, yes, okay, you're welcome. I can see some clap for you there in the comment section. So over to you.
Okay, hello everyone. Good afternoon. I am certainly happy to be in your midst this afternoon. My sincere appreciation to Hadlam Consulting, and I am certainly ready to thrive, which is why I am here today. So I'm going to be talking about maintaining a strong culture during a crisis. And I'll be sharing my screen shortly so that we can have a full glimpse of what I will be talking about today. So, 1 minute, please. So our learning objectives this afternoon, I'll do a short introduction about what culture is, then I'll go into understanding the relationship between brand and culture, and we will also understand at the end of this session the importance of culture as a driver of business agility, especially in times of crisis. And we will also be able to understand at the end of the session how to improve employee engagement and experience, particularly during a crisis. And then I will conclude. So I'm not going to bore us with too much academic things. I'm going to be as practical as possible because at the end of this session, I want us to leave with practical examples, practical strategies, practical insights that we can go and implement in our different organizations. So without further ado, let's get right into it. So here I have culture. Can we all see the screen before I proceed? Okay. Can we see my screen? All right, all right.
Yes, you can, but go to slideshow mode so it's fuller on the screen.
Okay. I don't know why my screen is, okay. Is it clearer now?
Yes, it's fine. Go ahead, please.
Okay, all right. So a brief introduction into what culture is. Culture is simply the way we do things. It's simply the way we run things. It is the cumulative concept that encompasses the knowledge, the customs, practices, and any other habits acquired by people in a society, an organization, committee of friends, workplaces, our families, all those things that we hold dear, that are part of our day-to-day. That is our culture. This fits into how we might think of a business culture, the beliefs that are predominant in that organization, the custom that are predominant, because for me, culture is basically that predominant traits that you find in any organization. So the personality of your business, that is part of your culture. Culture plays a significant role in how we think about a business. Identifying and understanding your business culture strengthens your company internally and externally. Especially in a crisis, it is culture that ultimately determines brand, because your culture determines how your organization perseveres during adversity and how you will be remembered afterward. For example, we're in the COVID situation right now. How is your organization handling people? How is your organization handling customers? How are you handling vendors or suppliers? How are you handling your financials and all of that? So those are the things that you will remember at the end of the crisis, that, oh, I remember during COVID period, this was how we managed things. So that is basically what culture is talking about. And to drill down my point about the definition on culture, I'm going to be using this framework, the Organizational Health and Performance Framework, to put more light or shed more light into what I have said so far about what culture is. Now, the culture of an organization has to do with the performance health of that organization in terms of the individual, in terms of the organization as a whole. If you look at this value, look at the framework, we have the value system, which is talking about how we make money. We have the culture part of your health, which is how you run the place, you run your organization. And then at the individual level, we have the roles that individuals have to play within the organization and the behavior that needs to be exhibited within that organization. So I'll quickly move into the next slide to explain what I meant with that, with this particular framework. How we make money, how do we make money in our organization? This is basically focusing on the organization performance in terms of our long-term strategy, where and how we want to achieve our goals, what do we want to do in the near term, what do we want to do in the long time, how do we want to reduce costs, and other strategic initiatives that the organization has in the pipeline. Then how do we run the place? This is basically your day-to-day, your operations. This model for me is very close to the balanced scorecard model, where you have your vision and strategy at the center of your learning and development, your financial, your customer, and your processes. So how do you run the place on a day-to-day basis? How healthy is your process? How positive is your process? How well are people able to work together on a day-to-day basis? That's one of the bedrock of your culture as an organization. Then at the individual level, how do individuals add value? Do they understand the big picture? Do they know what is required of them? Do they understand the strategy? Do they understand your value? Because personally, there's no way I'm going to be able to add value to any entity if I can't see the big picture, if I don't understand what I'm supposed to be doing, if I do not understand how the work I am doing contributes to that big picture. So you also want to look at how the individual behave when you are talking about the health of your organization. For individuals to understand how they behave in terms of your culture, you need to first identify the behavior that they will need to regularly engage in to support the organization's strategy and to achieve their own individual performance objectives. So we are talking of health at the organization, at the individual level, focusing on two things. On me as a person, I need to understand what is needed to be done. I need to understand my performance objective, and I also need to understand the business strategy, how my performance link to that organization strategy that the organization is currently working with. So moving on, I would like to do a very quick differentiation between culture and brand, and as well as the relationship between the two. So if your brand identity is the external manifestation of your brand, then your brand culture is the internal expression of this. And it has everything to do with how a business is run. It's as simple as that. If for example, you're thinking about your customers, you can't be thinking about customers without thinking of how you will align people to serve those customers, whether internal customers or external customers. So your internal culture is a reflection of your brand. Your people are embodiment of that brand that you want to project to your customers, that values that you want to render to customers. Customers are going to have perception about your organization based on their interface with your people. So you cannot be designing a brand strategy or a brand map that doesn't include your people map within it. How do you align people with these brand values that you want your customer to perceive? You want to be the best in maybe customer acquisition, then you need to also align people accordingly, meaning you are hiring people who are customer-centered, people who are service-oriented, people who have all those traits that you need to render that kind of service or services to those customers. So you are not designing your brand journey or your brand strategy in isolation of your people. You actually need people to help you bring your brand to life in the mind of your customers. Even the most creative business leaders understand that you need to care more for your people in order for people to care about your customers. If I have an example here of a manufacturer who cannot brand itself as innovative rather, without hiring accordingly, without hiring innovative thinkers who will create a culture where innovative thinking is encouraged and rewarded. So you cannot go out there as an organization and be claiming, oh, we are innovative, and you don't have anything within your organization internally showing people how to be innovative, showing people how to think innovatively or creatively. And then when people exhibit that particular behavior, you are not encouraging it, you are not rewarding it, you are not reinforcing that behavior. So, and this is what will help you to stand out amongst your competitors. This is what will make you stand out in the crowd. So there's a very close-tied relationship between your culture as an organization and your brand as an organization. The two of them are closely intertwined. If you're not able to merge your business purpose with your brand and your culture, then there is an underlying problem within that organization that will need to be addressed down the line. So that's that on the relationship between brand and culture. Then quickly moving on, I'd like to go into how culture can be a driver of business agility in times of crisis. And I have it here that wherever you have people gathered, you will find culture there, because culture is simply the way you do things. It's the way you see things. Is your tradition. I did a post on LinkedIn last week where I was talking about sharp practices and best practices. You know, whether you are practicing best practice or you're practicing sharp practices, it's simply your culture. It's your culture, it's your tradition. And so if there's going to be any change in that tradition, if there's going to be any shift in that tradition, a plan has to be put in place to bring about that shift, because you have already established a way of doing things. And I have it here. The right cultural foundation and the right priorities will help you realize significant performance improvements, especially in times of crisis. And so I will say that a good company culture should focus on leadership in times of crisis, especially. People want to know what to do. People want to have a sense of purpose. For example, this COVID-19 situation, when it started, a lot of us were in a flux. A lot of us were confused. We didn't know what to do. So it was at that time that some organization leadership, came up and recreated and reinforced and reiterated that sense of purpose that, oh, we are an organization. This is what we are about. That sense of purpose will now be cascaded down the ladder. Cultivating high performance teams requires you talking about your vision and your mission. People have to buy into that vision for them to be motivated to go on that mission with you. Your mission is, oh, what we are doing now. This is how we want to do it. This is what we need to do right now. Your vision is, where are we going? Where do we need to be? So for people to be able to go on that mission with you, they must buy into your vision. And it is especially important during a crisis to keep talking about your business purpose. And culture is one thing that can help you to drive this. You have leaders at different cadres in the organization. So when I'm saying leadership here, I'm not talking about executive management team. I'm talking about those influential people that you have across teams in your organization. Culture should help you to create innovation. It should lead to innovation. If you have a rich culture, the culture should be able to create an environment where innovation will be encouraged. People will be able to think out of the box. The COVID situation is, I don't want to use the word unprecedented. It was unexpected. It came in and everyone just had to deal. So if you have an innovative culture in place, or you have been growing an innovative culture, people will be able to sit down and think of how to solve the problems that may have occurred as a result of the crisis in a very innovative way. They will be able to think out of the box. They will be able to create innovative solutions to the problem that may have occurred as a result of the crisis. And that can be the turning point for your organization. Strong culture means better retention. I mean, for great workplaces, part of one of the core measures or metrics is the retention level. How well are you able to retain employees? I used to argue with people when they say, oh, she's a key part of the team. He is a key part of the team. Everyone is actually key to the business. I mean, we wouldn't have hired the person, or you wouldn't have hired me if you felt I didn't have anything to add to the business. So creating a culture of saying he is key to the business or she is key to the business affects the psyche and the emotional states of other team members. Every team member has a role to play. That's why it's a team. And if you're going to retain people, you need to pass that message over and over, and not just passing it over. You have to demonstrate that every team member is important to the business objective, to achieving the business objective. And so if I feel like I am an important part of the team, if you have a culture that makes people feel, oh, you are important, your work is important, you are valuable, we value you, you will be able to retain me. Because each employee has their own individual motivation. But one core thing that is inherent and like general to us all as human is the feeling of being, the desire to be appreciated. And so when you have a team of people and you are putting some people on pedestals to say these are our key team members, because we all have potentials to be key. But I don't use the word key when I am doing my succession planning or planning the growth and development of employees within organization. Everybody is actually key, and we all have the potential to add more and more value to the business. And that is where culture can help you to retain people. Culture is a long-term commitment to excellence. For people who know me or have interacted with me, I don't lower the bar on excellence. If you're a leader in an organization or you have an entity in place, from day one, excellence should be a part of your core value. Because if people don't execute well, no matter the kind of strategy you have planned and all of that, it will all go down the drain. So if we are an organization, for example, who pride ourselves on excellence, that is the way we should run. And we should let people know what constitutes excellence, because excellence in one organization may not be excellence in the next organization. So we should define what we mean by excellence. And when something is excellent, it may take a while to bring it to life. For example, it may take some investment, it may take some effort, but it will definitely yield serious dividends down the line. And it will also create brand loyalty in the long haul. So if you're an organization that is passionate about best practices, ethical behaviors, corporate governance, and all of those positive values, I can tell you for free today that it will pay down the line. Culture stresses common values and common goals. There are different facets of company culture, which revolves around your values. Your founder, your business owners, they didn't just say, oh, we want to start this company because we want to make profits. You also want to hire people who share the same value with you as a founder. I am the founder of a women-focused organization. And we don't admit members who don't share the same values with us. Because at the end of the day, those common goals and values is what will keep us bonded, and it is what will keep us together in the long haul. So a strong culture stresses value, and this produces employees with well-tuned sense of direction and helps to create common definitions of success so that your company can grow as a team. So in my consultancy, where I work with clients on finding, building, and retaining confidence in their bodies for success, for each of my clients, I'm always asking the question of what is your goal, or what are your goals? What does success looks like to you? Because success definition in one organization may not be the same in another organization. So there's a need for you to identify those common goals, put them down in black and white, let people understand what you mean by those common values, and let people understand what success is to your organization, and you can begin to see things turning around. You can begin to see that culture helping you to become more agile as an organization. And as crises come up, you are more able to deal with those crises because your employees are purposeful They are on a mission and they are fully committed to your vision. My next slide, I'll quickly go into improving employee engagement and experience during a crisis. That's one of our learning objectives, to understand how we can improve engagement and experience, especially during a crisis. So I'll quickly define or explain who an engaged employee is. An engaged employee is someone who cares about the work they are doing, cares about the performance of the company, and they want to feel that the work they are doing will create a difference. You know, I've said it before, if you are talking employee motivation, people want to do meaningful work. They want to work in an environment where their career advancement is top of the charts. They want to work in an environment where performance is rewarded. They want to work in an environment where the culture is positive, a culture that resonates with them, that resonates with them at an individual level. The creative process is inclusive. So all of these things are generally the internal state of mind of your employees. And it is this emotion that binds them together in terms of the effort, the commitment, and the satisfaction that they get from coming to work with you as an organization or as a brand. So how engaged an employee will be is inherently tied to the experience that you have crafted and executed as an organization. And I usually advise that if you're going to create experience for people, experience does not have to be expensive. I work with clients who have said, oh, we've done everything possible. People are still not engaged from our surveys. And my next question is, what kind of experience are you giving them? Are you giving them experiences that they want or the experiences that you think they want? So we will talk more about that as I move on. Companies and brands spend endless hours improving customer experience, and they pay little or no attention to employee experience, forgetting that the experience that you give to your employees, the experience that the experience you share with those employees will reflect on their interactions with your customers, will reflect on their interactions with your vendors and suppliers, will reflect in their interactions with other stakeholders in your business. During a time of crisis, managers may not even be equipped to provide the kind of support that you want them to provide to employees. Because the relationship is quite different now. And the workforce is relying on new form of communication, as we will come to see as I move down my slides. And how managers encourage their direct report to stay fully engaged, even as crisis changes the way we work, will go a long way in the survival level or the survival rates that the organization will be able to record at the end of the crisis. So to drive employee engagement and improve performance, these are my recommendations. Number one, keep communication lines open. When the COVID situation started and in my organization, we had to start remote working and all of that, we kept the communications line open. Communication lines to your customers, communication lines to your people, communication lines to your vendors, communication lines to every other stakeholder in your business. We kept talking about our value as an organization. We kept talking about our mission. We kept talking about our vision. We kept talking about our purpose. We kept talking about reiterating our commitment to our customers, to creating values for our customers. We kept on talking and talking and talking, meaningful talk. Because now that we have virtual rooms, virtual chat rooms, where people are talking, a lot of communications are taking place within those rooms. But you want to try as an organization to keep those conversations meaningful conversations. So your communication lines should be open. People should know what to do and what not to do as the crisis is raging on. The focus should be on your leadership. Lead by example so that you foster a culture of support. It's a culture of support that will bring about engagement in the workplace. You have leaders across teams in your organization, leaders at different cadres. Utilize them. They are your change agents. They can help you to make the change process a very smooth one. They can help you action those strategies that you have spent hours designing. So the focus should be on the leadership and how you can use your leadership to engage people during the crisis, how you can use your leadership to keep people motivated, how you can use leadership during this crisis to keep people focused on what is important to the business. Then you hire right. The fact that there's crisis does not mean that hiring has stopped. You are still hiring as an organization. So you need to get the right people on the bus and make sure they are in the right seats. Then design a great onboarding experience. I am an experience fan. I am an engagement fan. I love experiences. There was part of what I do as a professional is designing people experiences for my clients. I have worked with an organization who were having serious problems with engagement. And one of the things we decided to do immediately was to improve their onboarding experience, because people come in and 3 months down the line, they're out of the place, 6 months down the line, they're out, and all of that. So we said, after our surveys and everything, we realized that part of the problem they were having was their onboarding process. How do you bring people into the business? You've gone through the stress of selection, interviewing, and all of that. Now you have selected the best candidates. How do you keep that person motivated? How do you keep that person bringing the A game to work every day? How do you keep that person bringing his or her best self to work every day? That internal motivation starts from the onboarding experience. You cannot underrate the importance of creating a great onboarding experience, from when the person saw your adverts, to when you interview, to when you send offer letters, to how you induct the person, and all of that. And I'm going to share a very practical example of one of the solutions we gave to that client as a takeaway from this class. So one of the things we did was, the client had a virtual room that was on Microsoft Teams, where employees chat and engage and all of that. So one of the things we introduced was, as people are coming into your organization, they have accepted your offer, put them into your chat room. Create an engagement committee within your organization. Engagement committee made up of people from different teams, people from different departments. So within that chat room, they will be the one constantly engaging that new incoming employee. So by the time the person eventually resumes, the person already has a feel of the kind of culture you have in your organization. The person already knows, a couple of people by their names. So when he or she resumes, he's not a total stranger. That first day of resumption at a new place, that uncomfortable feeling you feel on that first day, that was what that solution was targeted at. Let people come let them feel the vibe of your organization, even as they are still in the process of coming on board, even as they are still in the process of resuming. Before resumption, pre-resumption activities, let other team members, let the person have an idea of the kind of people he or she will be working with. So it was a win-win situation. The incoming new employee is engaged, is looking forward to coming in. Your existing employees who are on the internal side, they are involved. They are involved in the onboarding process. So it's not a totally HR function. It's an everybody function. And one of the things we also did for that client was to keep rotating people. You know, for example, if you're part of the engagement committee this month, we have people who are core part of the engagement committee. They were the ones who were supervising and making sure that things happen as planned. And then we were rotating the engagement team across all departments. So if you're a part of the engagement team this month, next month, we will have another person on board. You can go and rest. Then another person will take over and engage the new incoming employee. Not just at the point of coming in alone, even during induction and post-induction, the engagement team at standby, making sure that the person feel welcome and a valued part of the team. And so after several months down the line, we went back to do another survey of the employees who were taken through that experience. And part of the things that kept coming up in the responses was the experiences that they had when they were coming in. It was awesome. And the most important thing was it was very cost effective. It wasn't costing the organization an arm or a leg. It was just a matter of thinking out of the box. So that's one practical example that I will share around onboarding experiences. If you want more info on onboarding or employee experience, you can reach out to me after the program. Thank you. So you should train and develop employee. As the crisis is persisting and going on, new skills will be needed. New technologies are required for some businesses. And so you should identify those skills that are needed for you to survive the crisis. If people need to acquire those skills, we need to train them or send them on external training if you don't have the internal capacity to give them the necessary skills. You can send them for external training. You can have your mentorship and coaching platforms within your organization. Everyone in your organization is a resource. So learning and development is not strictly a HR function. It's an everybody function. Every member of your team are resource people. So it's on you to sit down and come up with a plan or a calendar that will cater to the new skills of the new work era that we have right now. Because if you require technology, you have to put it in place. You have to train people on how to use the new technology. If you require new ways of working, you have to train people, let them understand how the new way of working will be. If you need to develop certain skills, they need to go and acquire those skills. So you cannot sweep the importance of learning and development for your team under the carpet, especially when there's a crisis, so that they will be able to spring back and tackle the challenges head on with the necessary knowledge, skills, and attitudes. Then you should focus on performance. As the crisis, as your organization is facing a crisis, people are unsure of what to do. It is even more important during a crisis to set goals for people, so that even if, for example, I am working from home, I can focus on what is needed. I can focus on my KPIs, that is key performance indicators. I can focus on my deliverables. I can focus on what is required of me. So I'm not engaged in endless activities that don't add to the business growth. So you should focus on performance during a crisis. Set the goals, monitor it, and reward performance. It's one of the key drivers of employee engagement and experience. I want to remember your organization as that organization that reward performance, so that when I am working, I know I'm working towards something. I'm working towards an outcome that will impact my organization. Then you should get feedback. Yes, during a crisis, some people will leave, some people will stay. So as you are conducting the exit interviews for people who are leaving your organization, you should also conduct a stay interview so that you will understand why people are still with you, even as you are in the middle of a crisis. And crisis may not necessarily be the COVID situation alone. Your organization could be going through a customer loss period where you are losing customers and your financials are dwindling. And then you have those employees who are still with you, who are, committed to your mission. They are on the mission with you because they strongly believe in your vision. So you need to understand why they are still with you. And your understanding of that why will give you a direction on what you need to focus on more to keep them engaged and give them that awesome experience. And then you should focus on making the office a place that more employees want to be instead of have to be. If in a crisis, for example, the COVID-19 situation, you still have people who are coming to the office and all of that, you need to make the office a place that people want to come to and not a place that I have to be. For example, I've worked in a place where, in fact, I just couldn't wait for morning to come so that I could go back to work because I had awesome colleagues, I had awesome managers, I had, the work environment was conducive, my career growth was paramount to the business. So all of those things makes me want to give my best to the business and also made me want to always be in the office because I was with awesome set of people. So if I'm saying awesome set of people here, you need to understand that we still had our differences, but there were people who were on the same page with the business, people who understood where the business was going, people who understood what needed to be done, people who understood that we were a team, people who understood that it's not all about me, it's about us. So that was a place I always wanted to go to. And then I will say that you should also ensure that your team activities align perfectly behind the mission narrative of the organization. I've said it earlier, if a crisis is raging or there's a critical situation on ground, activities must be organized to align behind the mission of the business. We won't say, oh, because we are having customer challenge, and then we will start focusing on maybe any other thing that is not related to that. Activities must be focused on solving that challenge. All hands must be on deck to resolve that issue because that issue will affect the mission narrative of the organization. And so if it is going to have an effect, no matter how minute, every activities must be focused on resolving that challenge. Then you should develop a diverse and inclusive culture. A culture that resonates with people as individuals, a culture that glues them together despite differences. I am a diversity and inclusion advocate. Part of the bulk of the work I do is around diversity and inclusivity. If you're saying, oh, we are an equal opportunity organization, you are an equal opportunity organization, we employ people from diverse backgrounds. Fine, you have employed them. How do you include them in your day-to-day? You want to have a meeting or a strategy session, and you are saying, oh, these ones they are Igbos. Let them not participate in this strategy session. You are saying these people are still young, they cannot participate in this session. Oh, they are women, they won't know how to contribute to this session. You are saying, oh, she is a Muslim or he is a Christian, he will bring his church mind to this thing. or you are saying, all of those are diverse, or you are saying, oh, he's gay, or she's gay, or she's a lesbian, he's gay, or he's, LGBTQ is there, and you are using those biases. Those biases are coming into your day-to-day operation. Those people are not going to be engaged. And you cannot claim to have a diverse and inclusive culture because your activities are already biased towards those people. And those people that you are biased, that you have biases against, of course, are not going to be engaged, and they are not going to have any nice experience in your organization. So if you want people to truly come together in a crisis and tackle situations, tackle challenges, you must put effort into inclusivity. You must put effort into diversity, because those differences of backgrounds, those differences in all shapes and sizes, all have a huge role to play in your business development. And if you do not get serious about including them and eliminating those biases, if you do not recognize that the biases exist, if you do not recognize that you are biased, there's no way you will be able to have inclusive conversations or an inclusive organization. And inclusivity is one of the things that bind people together despite differences. Then you should consider the whole employee. That I am an employee does not mean that I am no longer a mother, or I am no longer a wife, or I am no longer a sister, I am no longer an aunt, I'm no longer a mentor, I am no longer a coach. I am playing different roles. And all of these roles impact my well-being. So as I am coming into work, you need to encourage me to find ways to integrate my work and my life. It's not about, we are not talking tHRive parties here. I am talking understanding the peculiarities of each of your employees, engaging them at that level. That's another level of engagement, understanding the challenges that they are having in their lives, because those baggages will be brought into the organization and it will affect their commitment. It will affect their satisfaction on the job. It will affect their productivity. So what is happening in one aspect of my life can spill into other aspects of my life. And this is especially true, especially during a crisis. The COVID situation, some people are working from home, some are doing flexi work, some are dealing with taking care of their children and then having to work at the same time. Some have elderly ones that they need to take care of. Some have, a lot of issues that are happening, a lot of situation, events happening simultaneously in the life of each employees. And so as an organization who is serious about using culture to bring about business agility, you need to understand that your employees are human beings with other aspects to them, with other facets to them. And those facets need to be faced and head on, especially if they are having challenges, because those challenges will spill into their productivity. And of course, it will impact your business. So when there's a crisis, you need to consider people as human beings, a whole human being. You are saying, go, 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 go. We need to do this, we need to do that, we need to achieve this, we need to bring that in, we need to whip this, you also need to think about other aspects of the person. You need to think about the state of mind of that person, because if I'm not in the right state of mind, there's no way you will engage me. There's no way, no matter the kind of experiences you are designing, it's not going to work for me. So assess the tools and resources that is needed to deal with the crisis. I had mentioned it before. Put effective technologies in place. Get the tools that is needed to promote performance and well-being for isolated remote workers. Don't just say, oh, go and work from home, and you are not giving them the necessary tools to work. That's one of the core features of a great workplace. You onboard me, you have to give me all the tools, you have to support me to succeed. You have to be passionate about my success. Don't set me up for failure. And then during performance appraisal, you are saying she's not performing. So the question should be, have you provided me the tools and resources to work with, adequate tools and resources? So that when there is a crisis and you have trained me, I am empowered to bring about the change that you are looking for. I am empowered to bring about a solution. So you cannot leave me powerless and expect me to dish out anything positive or anything that will bring about the business growth that we are all aiming for. So you have to provide tools, access, and resources for people to remain engaged and have a mind-blowing experience with your organization. The last on my list is actively prioritize engagements. We don't prioritize engagements. It's only few organizations who are very passionate about engaging. You need to be deliberate. As you are saying, oh, we want to achieve this, we want to achieve that, we want to do this. Don't forget that you need people, apart from those machineries, you also need people to hit your bottom line and your up line as well. So you need to plan and action your strategies. What is our engagement strategy? And I've been saying it on other platforms, and I'm going to say it here again. Engagement is a gradual process. Engagement is not something that will happen overnight. Engagement has different touch points. Engagement could be from your hiring process, from when you throw out your job advert. How do you engage at that point? It could be from how you train. How do you train people? What are the career growth plans that you have on ground? Engagement could be performance. Do you reward performance? Engagement could be compensation. Is your compensation system, your compensation structure, is it fair? Is it equitable? Is it market friendly? Is it market competitive? Is it internally equitable? Then your exit process, how do you exit people? Do you exit people shabbily? Do people go out of your organization saying good things about you, or they go out living, or they leave your organization aggrieved? So engagement has different touch points, just like the customer experience that we have different journey points. The same thing with employee engagement and experience. You have to plan it out. You have to be deliberate about it. What experience do we want to give people at this point? What do we want people to say about us at this level? What do we want people to experience? Because at the end of the day, when people don't have lifetime contracts with your organization. But when they leave your organization, what they remember most is not the fat salaries that you were paying them. What they remember the most is those awesome, special, meaningful experiences that you gave to them, that they experienced when they were with you. And that's how they will go out there and continue to be your lifetime ambassadors, wherever they are. You're not paying for that advert. They are just promoting you anywhere and wherever. So that is my last point on engagement. And again, before I wrap it up, please understand that you cannot do all engagement. You cannot create all experiences at the same time. You need to focus on one, make sure you get it right, and it is working for you before moving on to the next one. So it's not something that you put everything into the basket and choke yourself up, because engagement has a lot of preparations around it before you go into the execution. And the execution is that part where people feel you the most, where people appreciate being a part of you. So focus on one at a time. You can reach out to me for more of that after the session. So in conclusion, organization culture is civilization in the workplace. And without civilization, we would certainly crumble. We will certainly crumble because culture is that thing that brings sanity into the system. It is the civilization in the organization. If we don't have culture, culture is, like I said earlier, the way we do things, the way we perceive the business, the way we perceive each other as a team, the way we run the business, the way we behave as individuals, the way we behave as a team, the way we behave as an organization, the way we project as an organization. So if there are no norms, if there are no values, if there are no rules, if there are no regulations, all of those things will definitely crumble. So an organization culture is the only unique identifier, despite whatever unique selling points you may have. It is that shared values and belief that you have established as an organization and that you have communicated and reinforced over and over that will ultimately shape your employee perception of your organization. It is that thing that will shape the customer's perception of your organization. It is that thing that will change, that will shape even your perception as the owner of a business. So it is your unique identifier. So I am putting it to you today before rounding up this session to go back to your table and identify your differentiator as an organization and start working towards bringing it to life or sustaining it. Because it's one thing for you to say, oh, we are a creative organization. It's another thing for you to be able to sustain that concept, that big idea. We call it big idea in advertising. It is that big idea that will keep people connected to your brand. It is that big idea that will keep people coming back. It is that big idea your employees with you. It is that big idea that will connect your employees to your brand. It is that big idea that will continue to engender loyalty to your brand from your employees. So by taking into account all these elements of the workplace, HR teams and employers can work together to create a strong, positive culture that would have a long-lasting impact on the brand of the organization and the performance of the business, such as would not be affected even in times of crisis. So thank you all for listening to me. I appreciate the time you took out to join me on this session this afternoon.
Thank you very much, Kende. Thank you for the insights you shared, very practical and relatable. We appreciate you sharing your time with us this afternoon. Let's get some feedback. How was the session? And also sending your questions. I have some comments here. Please send in your questions or I will take feedback as well. How did it go? What did you learn today? Okay, Obaseki says, thanks, Kenny, that was great. How do you generate the, okay, I think that's the question. We'll take that. Sylvia says, awesome session. Thank you, Kenny. Adewin says, thank you for your time and insightful session. Adedoyin says, interesting and impactful. Polani says, well done, ma. So engaging. So thank you. Let's take some questions. Julius says, thank you, Candy. Abiodun says, impacting. Great. Okay, quickly, there are some questions there. I'll take the questions in the chat box, but please, to easily track them, use the Q&A button. so we can easily ask the question. For those watching on YouTube, you can send in your questions as well in the chat box, and we'll take it from here. Great. Bosumba Kole says, great session, thank you. Osai says it was well informative and educative. Thank you all for your feedback. Okay, right, let's jump into the question. So Emmanuel is asking here, what is the place of core values in bringing about an effective culture? How well should such values be integrated into the organizational culture?
Thank you, Emmanuel. So what is the place of core values in bringing about an effective culture? To start with, we cannot separate values from culture. Values are an inherent part of any culture. We cannot say, for example, we are an organization and we don't have any foundation upon which we are standing as an organization. The founders of any organization, wherever the organization is located, they have certain things that are core to them. They have certain beliefs that are core to them, which will manifest when they start out the business, and which will also form part of the way that business will be run. For example, you will find organizations that say, we value integrity. Integrity is a core part of our value. So you cannot just say, if you want to integrate integrity into your organization, you cannot say, oh, we value integrity, and you have not sat down to define what integrity is in your organization. You need to define what that core value is, which is integrity. Define what integrity is. And you also need to define the behavior that embody integrity. So that when you are trying to reinforce behaviors, you know that, okay, for someone to be seen as having integrity, the person must do the right thing at the right time. So when you are doing your performance appraisal, for example, part of the factors that you should be looking at, or the rubrics that should be part of your appraisal form, is that integrity, where you define what integrity is, and you let people rate that person's integrity level. So that will feed into your culture. Because when people know that, oh, you are going to appraise me on integrity, and you have told me what integrity is, I can easily fall in line, and it becomes a part of me. That's an example of how you can integrate your core value to become an effective part of your organization culture. So the first thing is deciding what those core values of yours are. Once you've identified those core values, you need to define them, and you need to integrate them into your day-to-day, and you need to also integrate them into your performance monitoring and appraisal. So when you are setting up goals, those core values are part of the things you are setting up. They are part of the factors that you are assessing. They are part of the things or behaviors that you want to reward. So that is how it becomes a core part of your organization culture. I hope I did some justice to that.
Thank you very much. Yes, you did. Okay, another question here from Elizabeth. Can a group for staff engagement be created and the owner of business is excluded to promote openness among employees?
Okay, thank you, Jide. A group for staff engagement. People in organizations, because we are in a very fluid work era now. In my team, for example, we have a WhatsApp group for HR team. We have a WhatsApp group for finance team. We have a WhatsApp group for different departments. And then we have that singular WhatsApp group, for example, for everyone in the organization. So you can engage at different levels. I understand that there are some engagements or experience that you may not be able to share because you feel, oh, MD is there, MD will be watching me. And let's not deceive ourselves and say, oh, the fact that MD is there does not mean that I cannot talk. Because we also need to think about our context. Context meaning cultural implications are there, cultural implications, social implications are there, environmental implications are there. You know, people are thinking, you know, it's a semi-closed culture that we are running over here. So some people may not be able to fully engage because of the elder mentality, which is cultural in nature. That, oh, MD is here, I cannot talk on this platform. But you know, you have those other more intimate platforms, like I said, the departmental ones where people can easily share because you are not under the pressure of someone is watching me to see where I will misstep. And that is solely dependent on the kind of leadership that you have in an organization. I have been a part of an organization where, whether MD is there or not, he has built a culture of openness, a culture where people are not afraid to express themselves. In fact, he encouraged entrepreneurship. He encouraged people bringing out ideas. He encouraged you to faff around, you know, play around and all of that. The culture is a function of the kind of leadership you have in place. You know, I mentioned earlier that for core values to become a part of your culture, it has to start from the leadership, the owner of the business or the owners of the business. What do they believe in? And so when they are hiring people who share similar beliefs so that they can fit into that culture when they come in. But that is not to say that diversity will not come in. When we are saying you should hire for fit, we are not saying that. We are saying the person should be a zombie who is going to fit into all the boxes that you have created. It means the person is an individual person who has individual opinions and who can stand his or her ground when he has a contrary opinion to what every other person in the room has. So you can create different engagement touch points, like that group, that focused WhatsApp group that I mentioned. Because even in Microsoft Teams allow you to create different teams within that environment. So you can have the one where everybody is on it, and then you can have one where it's only admin team that will be there, it's only HR team that will be there. But you know that no matter the kind of focused group that you created, if you do not have your organization leadership support, whatever you are cooking up in that WhatsApp group or that focus group, it may not fly. So as you are doing your brainstorming in your focus group for your department or for the engagement committee I mentioned earlier, or for whatever group that you have created it for, make sure that as you are cooking it, your organization leadership is aware of those plans and is in support of those plans. Because that is where we get disappointed when it comes to engagements. You know, we've been cooking all that soup, and when we now present it to our organization leadership, the leadership is not in support of it. So you cannot be building a change that you have not, you've not planned. It has to be a planned process where everybody is involved and on deck. So you can have a platform where your business owner is not a part of, but whatever outcome of that focus discussion you are having in your informal group has to gel or align with the business owner. So thank you for that.
Thank you very much for your answer. Please send in more questions, and then we'll take it from here. Okay, more reactions from Adegbola says, practical presentation, thanks. Emmanuel says, nice response, but unfortunately, most organizations don't even sit down to define or even explain the driving force behind the core values. Thanks for bringing that to the fore. Okay, thank you for that comment. Just trying to scroll to see if there's any question here. Okay, Adedoyin says, what can you do when organization sends people home without working tools to work from home?
Without working to,
working tools to work from home. Like they didn't equip them with tools to work from home, and the organization sends them home to work from home.
okay. You know, I had said it earlier that if you hire me, you saw a value in me. That's why you called me to come on board. And one of the key things that, in my experience, people fail to clarify when they are coming into an organization is work tools. Focus is more on how much will I collect? What are my career growth? How will I progress? But nobody is asking question of, is my computer ready that I would use to work? Is my workstation ready? Nobody is asking questions about work tools. That's number one for me. And so you come into that organization, they onboard you, you do induction, and after induction, you are waiting around for your system to be set up. You are waiting around for your office to be set up. You've already started wasting productive time. Number three, performance appraiser comes. As you are sitting down to set goals with your supervisor, there is no discussion around work tools. No discussion around work tools to say, oh, my supervisor, I resume so, or I have been in this organization since so. Last appraisal period, this was the challenge I had with my work tools. People are not having those kind of conversations. Conversations around, will I be promoted? Conversations around, will my salary be increased? Those are the kind of conversations you see taking place in appraisal conversations most of the time. Nobody is talking about the impact of not having the right work tools on my productivity or my output. So if organizations are sending me home without the necessary work tools, it is in my purview as the individual who is going to be assessed to flag it and say, sir, before we start this work from home arrangements, this and these are the kind of things or equipment or tools that I need for me to give you these results that you are looking for. Because our culture is that of people, just soaking it in, people not speaking up when they need to speak up, or being afraid of, oh, if I speak, they will say she has come again, or being the lone dissenter in a group. So when everybody meets, instead of you to say, oh, this is my own opinion, because it's an opinion and you are entitled to it. This is my own opinion. This is what I will need to work. So if my organization, and it has to be documented, that conversation must be documented. That email must be documented. Email asking for my work tools, reminder on my work tools, so that at the end of the day, if I am not giving you the kind of results that you are asking for, or the results that you have set up for me in my KPI, even as we are having our KPI discussion, I'm already flagging it. That Oga supervisor, please, I don't have this, and you're expecting me to deliver this. So even if your supervisor maneuver his way around that, go back to your email and flag it again, so that it will be on record that you mentioned that you didn't have enough work tools as you are going home to work. So that's my own take on organizations sending people home to go and work without tools. And if I have business owners on this platform listening right now, it is part of those sharp practices that I was talking about. For you to send people to go and work at home and you don't provide the necessary tools for them to work effectively. Thank you.
Fantastic. Thank you for that response. Let me see. Any more questions? Let me scroll again. Okay, this from Osai says, it's not a question for you, Candy, so I'll just take it from here. How can I get the recorded video for some of us that join in late? Okay, to answer that, in the welcome mail we sent to you, it was detailed there how you can get video replays. along with other benefits. So for a fee of 15,000 naira, if you are not if you are not looking for the certification credit, so for a fee of 15,000 naira, you get you replace to all the 30 sessions. You get a certificate for this program. You get a 1 year subscription to the exclusive Thrive community, and then you get a 40% discount on any of our HRCI exam preparatory class coming up in September, any of the virtual classes coming up in September. If you are looking to get the any of the HRCI certification. So for that fee of 15,000, I think that's about $37. You can get all the replays of all the sessions we have in this program at the end of the program. So I guess that answers that. For your second question, says how can we reach out to her for more explanation? So I think you can connect to her on LinkedIn, right, Candy?
Yes, Kehinde Akonde Akonde.
Yes. So you can connect to her on LinkedIn and reach out to her with any more questions you have after this. Okay. Trying to see if there's any other question here. Okay, Obaseki Samuel says, thanks, Kenny. That was great. How do you generate the culture of an organization practically? I don't know if you've answered that with your presentation.
I think I mentioned that earlier.
Yeah, so,
Culture does not exist in isolation. Even as individuals, we have our individual culture. For example, myself, I have a way of rewarding myself when I do excellent work. That's the way I motivate myself. So it's a personal culture for me. So culture does not exist in isolation. Culture is my belief, my values, the way I perceive the world, the way I perceive myself, the way I perceive, events around me. That's culture, because those things are going to shape my thinking. They are going to shape my perception. They are going to change, they are going to shape my behavior. So it's the same thing for when you are in an organization. You have a group of people in an organization coming from different backgrounds with different opinions, different values, different beliefs. So the superseding belief is the one that is prevailing in your organization, the one that is most visible in behavior, both overt and covert. Covert means that we can see. Overt means the ones that are internal to your organization. So if you are saying that you want to build culture practically, the first thing is to identify what is it that is different about your organization. What it is that you want people to think about your organization. And you have to put plans in place to shape those thinking. So you are not just saying, no, we want to be an equal opportunity employer, and you are not putting plans in place to make sure that you are actually an equal opportunity employer. You are not hiring people who believe in equal opportunity, and that person will be your hiring manager, say a head of department. That person is not going to exhibit that equal opportunity because the person does not even have that value in the first place. So it is the job of your organization, it is the work of your organization, it is on your organization to change people's perception, to change their beliefs. If I came in with the belief that women should be in the other room, there's no way we will want to have a meeting and a woman will be in that meeting, and those beliefs about women will not manifest in the way I interact with that person. So it is you as an organization that will now put a plan in place to say, we are using this to develop women. We want to have more women in leadership position. We want to train more women to take on leadership assignments. We want to have more women quota in our hiring structure. We want to train more women. We want to empower more women. So you are taking deliberate action to make that thing, that equal opportunity employer to become a core part of your culture. So that is how you practically inculcate your value. That is how you practically create culture. Culture are created. If they are non-existent, you have to create one. You have to create traditions. And don't forget, I said it earlier, that the culture of your organization, the personality of your organization is that prevailing traits, the one that when we put 100 people in your organization together, or we put 50 people, we are interviewing them, they are saying that same thing over and over about your organization. That's your prevailing culture. And you have to create it. If it is not existing, you have to take steps. You have to plan and action the creation of the kind of culture that you want in your organization. That is how you practically create culture. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Kendi. Thank you for that response. Any more questions, comments, feedback? It's been a very insightful and practical session talking about organization, how to build it, how to maintain it during a crisis, and how it affects other parts of the business, your engagement, your brand, and all that. So thank you very much, Kendi, for sharing from your wealth of experience and your knowledge. Thank you for joining us on this session during the tHRive conference. We appreciate your time here.
Thank you, Jide. Thank you for having me. And thank you, everyone, for staying with us till the end. But yes. I can tell you, the world is waiting to experience you. The world is waiting to experience your organization. So go forth and be unstoppable. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And on that note, we'll be bringing this session to a close. Trust you've all noted the attendance code. Our next session will be starting at 3 p.m. West African time. We'll be looking at a critical topic here, building a mentally healthy.
Thank you.
Sorry, so we'll be looking at building a mentally healthy workforce in the new normal by Tone Roberts. That session will be starting at 3 p.m. Like I mentioned, it is pre-approved for towards the HRCI recertification for those that are looking for that. So see you again at 3. To get instant and quick alerts, please join our Telegram channel. That's the easiest way to get notifications whenever a session is starting. We send emails, but like we all know, not everyone checks their mails. So please, you can join that Telegram channel to get live notifications when we go live. So thank you once again. See you all at 3 p.m.
Thank you.